What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here once again with another episode of The Legal Submission. And this past weekend, Triller Fight Club introduced a new form of combat sports to the MMA slash boxing fan with a triangular ring. And it seemed to have come with some success. But the issue is the actual ring. And a bare knuckle boxing promotion out of Florida is actually suing Triller for the use of the shape, size, and the appearance of the ring. Lights Out Productions LLC and the BYB Extreme Fighting Series LLC are both Florida limited liability companies, and they've sued in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida on November 18th, 2021 on the premise of trademark and copyright infringement, as well as patent infringement, essentially for the use of the triangular shaped ring that the Triller combatants fought in. Now, Lights Out Productions and BYB Extreme Fighting Series actually do have copyrights and patents related to the use of a triangular type ring, and they've actually had those for a while. The issue that comes to mind here is that the bare knuckle fighting series has the rights to use the ring. Now, if you're wondering, the UFC has a patent and trademark and copyright on the actual octagon. So that's why you see other organizations not attempting to have that sort of fight structure. You can see cages, you see hexagons, you see other shapes, but you will not see an eight-shaped cage. Now, now is a good time to talk about the differences between copyright, trademarks, and designs. Easiest one right now is to discuss is a trademark. Trademark is a mark to describe a service or particular goods. You could think of logos, like Seahawk logo. You could think of names of companies like Starbucks, the coffee company. You could think of UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships. Those are marks that are used in business. And if the basic way to say you could infringe upon someone's trademark is if you were to use the mark without the necessary permission to do so. Roughly, this would be called a license. So if you have a license to utilize a mark, the UFC would allow you to use it without any legal repercussions. Now, if you were to do something else, like use the UFC mark or UFC label or UFC logo, Zuffa would probably sue you for what's called trademark infringement. So there's that for trademarks, just a basic level on that. Copyrights, when I think about the differences between copyrights and trademarks, and people mess them up all the time. Copyrights are more of idea based. So think of a story, a written story, or a television show, music, paintings, photographs. You can have copyright permissions. Copyrights to them, and those usually are filed in the U.S. Copyright Office. Now we're just basically talking about these types of intellectual properties in the United States for simplistic sake. And so the copyrights would be filed with the U.S. Copyright Office, and that gives that individual that it files for the copyright and obtains the copyright the opportunity to enforce those rights. Now you have to enforce them. You can't just file them and leave them there. You do have to enforce them, and that's one of the reasons why you see Lights Out Production and BYB Extreme Fighting Series filing this lawsuit. Why file for a copyright? Well, the basic law here with copyright law is that you own it once you make it. But how do you you have evidence that you made a particular thing, such as a triangular ring? Well, here's how you do it. You file with the U.S. Copyright Office. What that does for you when you file for a copyright is that, one, it once you file and it's agreed upon and it goes through the U.S. Copyright Office, it establishes a time as far as when you first utilized it. So if there's ever any issues regarding a copyright, you have that time as evidence as when you first utilized it. Secondly, there are what's called statutory damages attached to it. So basically, if you sue someone for copyright infringement, say someone uses your song to make money, and one of the biggest pieces of evidence in these lawsuits is you have to be using it for a commercial purpose. Otherwise, what's the reason of filing a lawsuit, right? So if you sue for copyright infringement and you do have the copyright, you are entitled to statutory damages. Why do you need these statutory damages? Well, statutory damages are pretty much a de facto amount of money that you don't have to actually prove. Now, with trademark infringement cases, you do have to prove how you were damaged by the infringement. Copyright, if you do have a copyright, there are statutory protections within the U.S. Copyright Act which allow you to recoup a certain amount of damages as almost an automatic. If you are to prove the infringement occurred. So if you file the copyright, two, file a lawsuit against someone that you claim perpetrated copyright, and go to court and prove that they have infringed on your copyright, you are entitled to statutory damages. Now, there are other damages that you could prove at trial, but statutory damages you do not have to prove. So that's another reason why you would file a copyright. Now, patents are a little more complicated and deal with more of the makings of things. So, for instance, here in this particular case, Lights Out Productions and BYB Extreme Fighting Series are suing Triller for a design patent. They have filed a patent on the design of the triangular ring. And what occurs in this process is a very technical and detailed accounting of how they are made the particular ring. So design patents will enforce the use of something unique like that. So that's the particular case here. They claim that Triller has infringed on, one, their copyright, the idea of the triangular ring, and two, the actual design of the ring. Now, we'll show you in the lawsuit, they'll show you pictures of what the rings are in comparison to what Triller is using. And certainly, to someone's eye, they could look similar in nature. Well, now what happens? Because the Triller had filed Triller had its event on November 27th, and it's came and gone. And what I had thought was going to happen was Lights Out Productions and BYB Extreme Fighting Series were going to file an injunction. An injunction would stop the actual event from occurring because of the claims of infringement. Now, one of the reasons why they might not have filed the injunction is because when you do something like that, you have to put up a bond, and that costs money to actually do. So that might have been one of the obstacles on why they didn't do it. But one of the reasons why this lawsuit is occurring is to prevent further events happening with this Triad Club or Triller Fight Club's unique, what they think is a unique fight whatever you call it, fight triangle, in which it's supposed to promote more of action in boxing. A lot of debate on that and what Triller is doing. Obviously, it has not been the best of years for Triller. What's funny is that almost a year ago, about this time, they were embarking on, on the forefront of of fights going on with Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, but now we see a lot of issues with Triller going on, and in fact we get this lawsuit at the end of the year. Now obviously what happens next in this lawsuit is Lights Out Productions and BYB Extreme Fighting Series will probably try to put a stop from Triller to put on more events in this triangle. What will Triller do? Maybe they argue that the triangle fighting ring, it was not the idea of Lights Out or BYB, that they did not infringe upon this design patent. Or they could simply just make an adjustment here as far as how the ring is going to be set up. We shall definitely see what happens, but yet again, we have another issue with Triller in the legal realm, and we will be following it. It's the legal submission, and when they pay out, Jason Cruz signing off. See you later.